Hello everyone, Gianluca Masi speaking on the behalf of the Virtual Telescope project, and it is a pleasure for me to be here tonight just bringing to you the beauty of the five planets parade showing early in the morning, I would say at dawn, these very nights. It is always for the Virtual Telescope a great mission to bring to you everything special happening up there. This is why we are here tonight. Before starting, I want to thank the technological partners of the Virtual Telescope project, and they are Unitron Italia Instruments, Software Bisq, C-Web and Telescope Live. I also want to acknowledge Bader Planetarium and Planeweb Instruments. Unfortunately, I want to say this right away. Tonight the sky is far from being perfect, and unfortunately it is very easy with clouds moving around as happened over the last 10 days here in central Italy. So unfortunately tonight we are not going to see live the planetary parade, but luckily enough I have images collected the past mornings that I am very happy and proud to share with you. What is happening right now is that we are able to see at a glance all the naked eye planets, that is Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. Of course we are on the Earth, so the Earth is in the foreground, so please add the Earth to the count. And then you also have the Moon right now just moving in the same part of the sky where the planetary parade is showing. So these mornings are very precious if you really want to see something special. Well, having all the five naked eye planets visible at a glance is not happening every night, and it just happens every few years. And the last time, for example, I could enjoy this personally was February 2016. But what is making this parade, the 2022 planetary parade, very special is that the order of the planets in the sky is just reflecting the order of increasing distance from the Sun. And in fact, starting from the horizon, you can see Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. Of course, the five planets are just covering a large portion of the sky, spanning about 110 degrees from Mercury, the planet on the very left, to Saturn, the planet on the very right. So taking an image, by the way, of the planetary parade is not very obvious for this only reason, that is the huge angle between the two extreme planets. But let's say the planets are bright enough that not only you can see them by naked eye even from light polluted cities, but also taking images should be quite simple, with the only exception perhaps of Mercury, because it is low and it just showing the sky, while the sky background is already quite bright because the sun is just rising, my friends. So while seeing all of them is possible by naked eye, please consider that spotting Mercury is not obvious. You have to be careful, and perhaps you can help yourself using a binocular to locate the planet and then try to spot Mercury itself with your own unaided eye. And this is something I did with success last morning. That said, I want to show you what we have in the sky right now, this planetary parade, underlining that in the shape I mentioned it, with the planets from Mercury to Saturn in the same order of their distance from the Sun, is something the last time happened in 2004, and it will happen again in 2041. So this is quite rare, and it was worth to share with you, my friends. Look here, I want to start with a few images taken at the end of April, when the parade was basically preparing. Here we are in Rome, my friends, and I will show you elements of Rome, making clear that I was in the eternal city where I live, by the way. And here, my friends, you can see several things. You can see plenty of lights on the bottom. Perhaps here you can recognize Sant'Angelo castle, and I understand that the scale of the image is not making it easy for you to recognize all this. Anyway, you can see a number of stars, I hope, and here you have Saturn, here you have Mars, then you have Venus, and then you have Jupiter. At that time, 27 of April, you could see 4 planets, my friends, but Mercury was not available in the same spot of the sky. This happened, say, 2 months ago. But later the same evening, also the moon was going to show. This was taken, some minutes later, and as you can see, my friends, we are in Rome, as I said. I think you can easily recognize here on the right St. Peter Dome, and again you have Saturn here, you have Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and the moon. And again, I said Mercury was not part of the parade at the time, and I want to scroll this just to show you this other beautiful image I could capture, making a detailed image showing Venus, Jupiter, and the moon. Look here how beautiful is this. Of course, the brightest object here is Venus, then you have Jupiter and the moon with its Earthshine, and on the ground you can see the Trinità dei Monti Church. This is a very famous monument in Rome, just on the summit of this famous, legendary, I would say, Spanish steps. And all this happened April 27. Just to mention that the parade was preparing for Mercury to join the show 2 months later. And then I want to switch to the images I could capture over the last very few days. As I told you, the sky has been far from being perfect, unfortunately, but happy that I could try so that I have something to show. And on June 21, the solstice, the summer solstice here in Italy, I just planned to wake up very early in the morning, but unfortunately, while the sky was clear, it was very hazy, and I could capture just the brightest objects. You can see here Saturn, you have the moon, then Jupiter, Mars, and Venus here. Planet Mercury is just missing because it was very hazy and its light went lost because of this of the haze, and more or less Mercury should be here. Just to show you a bit more in details, this is, as I said, Saturn, the moon, Jupiter, Mars, and of course Venus. Just note that in this image the Venus is showing more or less as bright as Jupiter, while in reality it is at least 10 times brighter. It just means that because being so low above the horizon, Venus is really suffering light absorption by the hazy atmosphere, my friends. All this in the morning of June 21. But a few days later, June 25, while the sky was still far from being perfect, I could hopefully capture all the 5 planets. Look again where we are, again in Rome, of course, St. Peter Dome, and I'm really happy that I can bring to you also the beauty of the Eternal City. That said, on the upper right here you have Saturn. Please note that between April 27 and June 25 you had 2 months, and the planets that in April were relatively close, the 4 planets visible, now they are just covering a much larger portion of the sky. The angular distance between Mercury and Saturn is 110 degrees at the time of my images, so it just required an extreme wide angle lens and just to be captured all those planets in a single shot. So on the upper right here you have our friend, as I told you, our friend Saturn. Then you have here Jupiter, Mars, quite faint because of the clouds. Then you have the moon here. You can recognize perhaps Venus, sorry. Here it is, just behind the clouds, and somewhere here you could see also Mercury. It is not easy to locate because, as I say, the sky is pretty bright, but if I zoom significantly, perhaps you can recognize here a relatively pale bright dot, which is just Mercury. Just zooming out to make possible for you perhaps to better understand the relative position. Look, this is Mercury, perhaps you can see it, and here it is Venus. Here it is the moon. Here it is Mars, Jupiter, so bright, luckily, and on the upper right you can see here, of course, Saturn. Same morning I did another image later. Now you can see Saturn using a shorter exposure time to hopefully limit the impact of the bright sky at twilight. Here it is Saturn again, just scrolling. We can meet here Jupiter, then Mars, here the moon, now Venus, a bit brighter now that it is leaving the clouds, and here perhaps you can already recognize Mercury. I hopefully bring it to you better by zooming. So all of them were visible there, my friends. Now I want to share with you the last images taken yesterday morning, when the sky was the best possible. I hoped to have the same sky tonight, but tonight the sky is honestly bad. Anyway, my friends, going to share with you what I grabbed for you last morning. Look here. You recognize St. Peter Dome. We are always in Rome, and now you can see perhaps a number of stars. And I want to show you, this is Saturn. There is also a satellite trail here. This is Saturn. This is, of course, Jupiter. Then you have here Mars, the Moon, and Venus. And also the Pleiades star cluster here, just resembling a very small dipper. And just to give you the perception of the whole parade here with Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the Moon, Venus, and Pleiades, with St. Peter Dome on the bottom, just telling us we are in Rome. Of course, Mercury was still missing because we just had to wait for Mercury to rise. And let me see if I can show you the final image. Here it is, several minutes later, while the sky was getting brighter and brighter. Just note how different the scenery is as for its brightness, because it is the last image I'm showing, this one was taken while the sun was really ready to jump above the horizon, but still we have some stars, but our planets are there, 5 planets. Here it is Saturn, this is Jupiter, then Mars, you have Venus, the Moon, and here there is also, trust me, Mercury. Let me see if I can just enlarge image a bit, just showing here Jupiter, Mars, the Moon, Venus, and Mercury here. Lucky enough to have captured it. So we succeeded just imaging all the 5 naked eye planets at a glance with a single image. Please, my friends, understand that these are single shot images. I really love just working hard to bring the beauty of the cosmos without doing compositions, without just co-adding images coming from different exposures and so on. I just managed to use a single shot to bring to you all this. Just admire this parade from Saturn to Jupiter to Mars to Venus, and here again there is also our friend Mercury, and how they just are able to, to draw a line that is the ecliptic, the projection in the sky of the Earth orbit, and of course the Moon. All this from Rome. So I hope that these images are just bringing to you the beauty of this planetary parade. I strongly suggest you to try yourself. Just go out 30 minutes more or less before your local sunrise, look east, making sure you have you don't have objects, buildings, mountains on your horizons. Otherwise seeing Mercury could be hard, being the planet very low all the time. Especially also be careful to start observing on time to be sure to have the first glimpse of Mercury while the sky is the darkest possible, because really it is matter of minutes between the first sight of Mercury and the very bright sky, making impossible to see Mercury any longer. So I really hope that this could bring to you, despite the hazy sky tonight, the beauty and the experience of this planetary parade. I was happy to share with you images coming from Rome, taken the last one last morning. It was very hard for me to bring with me all the imaging gear to do this, but I was happy so that I could honor my promise to show this to you no matter the sky tonight. Hope that you had fun, that at least this time with us was of interest for you, and I want to just suggest you, if you want to subscribe the Virtual Telescope Project Facebook page, so that you will be up to date with our future events. And if you want, you can support our project by donations if you like what we do. That said, Gianluca Masi is thanking all of you from Rome, Italy, and I wish you the very best and take care. See you next time.